Let's talk about the sun, okay? Apparently, it is 150 million kilometers away.
Oh, great stuff. Apparently. Did anyone else just get a feeling of dread or maybe excitement? Because if I'm understanding this butt nugget correctly, then he thinks the sun isn't real. So let's find out, shall we?
Please subscribe.
Now then, we've all heard flat earthers say that space isn't real or that the moon is a hologram and that the sun is local. But as far as I can recall, I have never come across anyone stupid enough to doubt that the sun even exists. But lately I've been losing hours of my life to TikTok. It's a real thing and I'm getting help for it and medication. But until all that starts to work, I thought I would share this with you lovely lot. So please be warned that the drinking of hot or cold beverages while watching this video is at your own risk. If you laugh and spray your keyboard or monitor, I'm not buying you a new one. Anyway, let's see what this douche canoe has got to say for himself.
Let's talk about the sun, okay? Apparently, it is 150 million kilometers away. 100 million miles. And it burns around 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit, which is like close to 6,000 degrees Celsius. I used to work at a steel company, okay? To make metal, the furnaces burn around 2,000 degrees.
Let me stop you there. Now, as much as it pains me to say it, he's right. The sun is around 10,000 degrees on its surface, but you make no mention of its inner temperature, which is around 27 million degrees Fahrenheit. Now, that's hot, and I'm sure it's an oversight, and you definitely didn't leave that out on purpose because it completely ruins your entire theory.
And you can feel that heat from about, I don't know, 25 feet away. So you're telling me that something that only burns at 10,000 degrees can be felt at 150 million kilometers?
Well, to be completely accurate, I'm not telling you that. Scientific research and facts are what tell us that. But back to your furnace, you know, the one you can feel the heat on from 25 feet away. Is the mean radius of it 696,000 kilometers? Or could you line up 109 Earths across the face of it? Because there are a couple of differences even I can come up with, and I'm not even a scientist. Or cool enough to wear my hat sideways like that.
Nuclear fusion, and they say it takes 1 million years for the heat to reach us. It wouldn't have dissipated a little bit over 1 million years by the time it gets, I don't know, say 1 million miles?
Of course it's dissipated a little, or maybe a lot, I'm not really sure. But I suspect that's why it isn't 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit on Earth. And I'm not sure where you get 1 million years from, because I was taught that it's about 8 minutes, the distance between the sun and Earth, because light travels at about 1 billion kilometers per hour, and the sun is about 150 million kilometers away from Earth. And I'm sure that if I'm wrong, someone will enjoy telling me, but if you do, remember this, I'm not the one saying that the sun isn't real.
We'd be frozen. This place would be a ball of ice, if that was the case.
Well, at least he isn't a flat earther, I guess. But the Earth has been a ball of ice. I'm not sure I'm following your logic here, or that you even have any.
It makes no sense.
Well, you'll get no argument from me on that point.
I just made a post about how the sun makes no sense. And this is one of the comments. So matter deflects and space is lacking matter. There's not much that would diffuse the heat before it reached us. Nothing would diffuse the heat from 150 million kilometers. Have you seen what happens when someone floats into space? They freeze instantaneously, frozen. Where's the heat? How did the heat get to us if space is an ice ball? I don't know either.
Okay, I've seen Guardians of the Galaxy as well. Poor of the Yondu. The way you said it implied that you've actually witnessed somebody floating off into space and freezing to death. Have you? Heat moves in 3 ways. Radiation, conduction, and convection. Radiation happens when heat moves as energy waves, called infrared waves, directly from the source to something else. This is how the heat from the sun gets to Earth. In fact, all hot things radiate heat to cooler things.
If you're with me right now, we're talking about the sun and how none of the facts make any sense. Here's another comment. You've never seen anyone freeze in space outside of movies. get real. Okay, but if you Google the information, it says space is minus 455 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay, so I'm gonna guess that you haven't actually seen anyone freeze in space. But anyway, it's a bit George and Zippy in space. You would definitely need your big coat. But to give you some context, you first need to understand heat as scientists do. A measure of how wiggly atoms are. Hot things move quickly, cold things move slowly. If atoms come to a complete stop, they're at absolute zero. And space is just above that, at an average temperature of about minus 455 degrees Fahrenheit. But space is mostly full of, well, empty space. It can't move at all. It's the gases and grains that drift through the cosmos whose temperature we can measure. Sunlight and starlight might heat those atoms up if they pass by, but eventually they'll cool back down by radiating the heat away, with little chance of hitting, and therefore heating, anything else in the vast emptiness of space.
That's not in a movie. That's just common knowledge.
And unfortunately, as you are showing us all right now, common knowledge doesn't seem to be that common. Now, as far as I can see from the things this guy is saying, he just doesn't understand how things work. And I use the word things for a reason. And no, the reason wasn't because I couldn't think of another word. It was because I've seen a lot of this guy's TikTok videos. And trust me, saying that he doesn't understand things is the kindest way of putting it.
Really pay attention, okay? Read these comments. My last few posts. All day long, I've been allowing these troll accounts to contradict themselves.
When he says troll accounts, he means people that are correcting him on his complete misunderstanding of things.
All day long. And when I say troll account, I mean like, you click on their profile and it makes no sense, okay? There's a picture of a baby, there's a dog, then there's a tower, and then something about the sky, and they're really, really obvious, okay?
So normal people posting normal things from their everyday lives. Right, got it. So according to this guy, being a normal person makes you a troll.
And they attack you. And the guy goes, well, so you believe everything you see on Google? I'm like, no, I don't believe anything I see on Google. Go back to school. Yeah, but where did I get the information? I got it from school. Oh, so you believe everything that you learn in school?
What school did you go to? And which teacher taught you that the sun makes no sense? Hang on a second, did Kent Hovind ever teach in Canada? If the information you are sharing in your videos is as a result of the education you received, then one of two things may have happened. Either you didn't go to school at all, or you did and you just sat there not listening. Which was it? Because there is no school in the world that would have taught you this nonsense, or at least I hope there isn't.
No, well, where do I get it from? Well, you should probably try at least learning something from, like, you're not a scientist. No, I'm not. Maybe do some research. Where? Google? The sun burns at 27 million Kelvins, or it's 15 million Celsius, or like, well, which is it, buddy?
Yay, now we know he's Canadian. He said, buddy.
I'm not your buddy, girl!
And back to your point, it's neither. The core of the sun is around 27 million degrees, or 1.5 times 10 to the 7 kelvins. Nailed it.
Can you guys, like, congregate in a room for, like, 2 seconds? Just be like, okay, guys, what's the story? This guy's humiliating us brutally.
Listen, you're not just humiliating the people that have commented on your videos, you're also humiliating yourself and all of Canada and the Canadian educational system and every person on earth that isn't a dumbass. Because all you have shown is that you lack the simplest understanding of science and the ability to fact check what you're saying on a public forum.
Let's keep talking about the sun, okay? It seems like a pretty hot topic.
Your intellect is as weak as your dollar.
Get it? So the sun is 4.3 million kilometers in circumference. Well, how'd you figure that out?
Maths? For calculating the circumference of the sun, what you need is the diameter, and the easiest way to measure the diameter is to use a pinhole camera. But for this, you need a very small hole, say in a card, and this isn't easy. But what you can do is make the hole bigger, say 3 centimeters wide, or it can be square or circular. Now paste a metal film covering it completely, like tin foil or aluminum foil for all my American friends who can't speak properly. Aluminium foil. Now create a very tiny hole in it and place it in the sun's view to form an image as shown in this picture. The diameter of the sun can then be calculated as follows. The diameter of the sun's image divided by the length of the pinhole camera, and then you multiply that by the distance to the sun. Then circumference can be obtained by multiplying it by pi. Maths.
Where's the proof? You know? So you sent a probe around the sun to see how big it was. You're assuming it's a circle. Unless you can see all sides of it.
Well, why didn't you just say that you only believe it if there are pictures? Hang on, I'll just pack for my trip. Better take some extra sunscreen. I burn looking at a postcard from a hot country. And I better not forget my camera either. Don't be a dick. Saying things like that is why people like me make videos about people like you. Now, I once heard Ali G ask Neil Armstrong in an interview why we had never been to the sun, which obviously was a joke, it was satire, but Neil Armstrong replied,
"The sun is too hot."
What happens if they went in winter when the sun is cold?
That's how stupid you sound right now.
The Earth's core is 9,392 degrees Fahrenheit. The sun's core is 27 million degrees Fahrenheit. The sun's surface is 9,941 degrees Fahrenheit. So the Earth's core and the sun's surface are almost the same temperature. But who figured it out? What did you use? What tool is it?
A Swedish professor named Bengt Elden. No, a Swedish professor named Bengt Edlen. I'm pretty sure I've said that wrong. Sorry, Swedish people. I love your furniture though. Go IKEA. And the tool is called science. The colour of light a star emits is related to its temperature, and the sun is a star. That means we can determine the effective temperature of the sun by measuring the amount of light it emits at each wavelength and comparing the resulting spectrum we see to models we know.
It'd be a pretty popular guy that invented that, you know? Albert Einstein, Alexander Graham Bell, Nikola Tesla, and the guy that figured out the core temperature of the Earth and the sun.
Are you asking who invented science?
What's the big secret? Okay? The furthest we've been from Earth so far, Voyager 1, is 23 billion kilometers, okay? That's how far away it is. I can't get a signal in a parking garage, but you're communicating 23 billion kilometers away?
Oh dear, he seems to think that we take mobile phones into space. No, it's a little more advanced than that.
I mean, I get it. You have better tools, better instruments, more money. That's how you do it. It doesn't make any sense. We can't get back to the moon. It's only 384,000 kilometers away.
Bingo! I wondered if he was one of those guys. Yeah, we know the moon landings were fake, blah, blah, blah.
That's You said something 23 billion, but we can't go back to the moon? Not a single picture has been taken of the moon on its surface since, they lost the technology.
Yeah, not a single picture has been taken from the surface of the moon since the last time there was somebody on the surface of the moon with a camera. Weird, right? Anyway, that's TikTok for you. It's like the Wild West over there. Now, if you think there's a lot of misinformation on YouTube, then you're gonna shit when you take a look at TikTok. This guy is quite mild by comparison, and if this video tickled your fancy, then why not tickle my buttons? You know, the subscribe one and the like one. I truly appreciate it, and it helps get more eyes on my content. I'll see you all next time. Well, I won't actually see you, but it doesn't matter. I feel like I'm over-explaining. Love you, bye.
Alright, watch this next. But before you do, make sure you subscribe. By order of the Creaky Blinder.